Hello again, everybody. I'm Scott Murray. Welcome to another edition of 5 Talk Street. Hey, did you know that stroke is the #4 cause of death in the entire United States, as well as the leading cause of disability? May is National Stroke Month, so if you have a history of stroke in your family, it is most important that you learn as much as you can. And here to tell us a little more today is Erica Anise. She's a volunteer with the American Heart Association. She has stroke and heart disease in her family, and that's not something you want to be a part of, is it?
It's not. Actually, my maternal grandparents both had strokes and passed from their strokes. My paternal grandparents had heart attacks and both passed from those. So for me, heart disease and stroke go hand in hand with my family and me being aware and knowing because I have heart disease.
Awareness is probably the most important thing when you talk about anything like this.
Completely, because there are preventative measures that everyone can take if you just stop, become aware, become informed, and then put it into action.
When did you realize or really truly comprehend that your family has an issue that you have to be aware of the rest of your life? Were you a teenager? Were you a young child?
I was an adult.
You were?
I woke up in the cardiac ICU unit at Northwestern Hospital.
Whoa.
Myself as the patient. My
How
father
old were you then?
31.
Wow.
Yes, my father had just passed away, and I had all the signs that they give you, but I was ignoring them, assuming that it wouldn't be me. I was healthy, I work out, I eat right, just wouldn't be me, but it's a history in my family, so I should have been much more aware and cognizant to what was going on with my body because the signs were there, and I would not have ended up in the cardiac ICU, but I did.
All right, Erica, you talk about the signs, you talk about the symptoms. Share those with us.
The risk factors imitate having heart disease with stroke. So if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, inactivity, all of those are things that you have to do because if you don't, those are risk factors that go ahead and put you in the category to have a stroke at a higher rate. And as an African American, that's one of the leading causes behind heart disease.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that Hispanics, but especially African Americans, are at higher risk than just about any nationality on the face of the earth.
Yes, and then as an African American woman, for me,
Even more so?
Even more so.
Wow.
After the age of 55, it starts to double my risk factor for having a stroke and having mental and physical disabilities from that stroke, which will eventually lead to my death.
Well, when you walked in here, I thought, oh my goodness, what a lovely young lady. And you're not obese.
No.
As you look at you on the outside, you just are not the type of person that I would say heart disease, obese, doesn't exercise. You look just the opposite.
Well, you know, for me, I think that was the misconception for myself personally. How could it happen to me? It would not happen to me, but yet the signs were there. And so part of what I'm working with the American Heart Association is to get the word out that it doesn't take a lot to just become aware and put it into place in your life, from eating healthy, staying away from salty foods, walking, just becoming a community with other people who have the same symptoms, and you can encourage each other.
What are some of the things that you hear people out? So much denial in our society.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if it's drugs, it's alcohol,
Yeah,
it's heart disease, whatever it might be. Not my problem. I don't have an issue. It's those folks over there. God love them. I hope they make out fine. But it doesn't work that way, does it?
No, believe it or not, at a younger rate, women and men are finding out that they have heart disease or are prone to have a stroke. And I think for me, getting my friends together, having a great time, but then discussing the issue of stroke and trying to become more aware of the Power to End Stroke campaign, that it's something fun that we can do, fun things. May 27th, Kirk Franklin's going to be here at St. John Church in Grand Prairie at the 11 o'clock service. So someone like that who's a Grammy Award-winning artist, a local resident in the community, but also part of giving back. Because I'm not even sure if it affects him personally, but because it affects his community, then he's giving back and kind of putting it out there on a bigger campaign level.
Is there a website or someplace people can go and say, oh, gee, that sounds like a good time? Go ahead and tell us about that again. Where they go?
www.heart.org/power-to-end-stroke. And it'll give you all.
Heart.org.
Yes. Go there, and the Power to End Stroke is part of the website, so you'll give you all the information about Kirk Franklin coming on May 27th. But the entire month is Power to End Stroke campaign month. So do whatever you can at the office, with your church, with your friends and family. If you really sat down at a table, someone would be able to tell you everyone has been affected by stroke and or heart disease.
What's the biggest change you've made in your life? You talked about some of the things in general terms, but I mean, those are things that everybody has to deal with if they have this issue.
I listen to my body. And I don't rely on the medical professionals to be my saviors. I have to tell them exactly what's going on. I have a journal when I'm feeling bad to timing so that when they ask, Erica, and I can't fudge it because I really need to tell them so they can help me. Waking up in the cardiac ICU unit, it's nothing I ever want to do again, and having all of these people around and saying, you know, you have to do things differently because you have a higher chance of dying. Not what I want. So I celebrated my 40th birthday this year, and I'm hoping on celebrating many more birthdays and staying healthy and making my community and friends around me just as healthy.
40 years old?
Yes.
You fooled me. Oh my goodness gracious. So, parting thoughts that you'd like to leave with our audience today?
I think it's very important to know your history. For me, I was aware of my history, but I wasn't listening to my history. And once you learn that, then you can go into your doctor's office and say, hey, my grandparents died of strokes, my other grandparents died of heart attacks, help me. What are the signs that I can see at an early age, 20, 21, just so I can prevent anything from happening to me and have fun for the rest of my life. So for me, my advocates, I say, is just know your history.
Well, the American Heart Association is most lucky to have you to be
Thank
out there
you.
as their spokesperson of sorts.
Thank you.
And continued success to you.
Thank
Really,
you. Thank
you're
you.
lovely, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks so much. Erica Anise, think about what she had to say. And think about your family as well. Still lots to come here on this edition of 5 Talk Street. We're coming right back, so don't you go away.